Okay, we'll call a meeting of the Town of Lake Clark Shores Code Enforcement Board hearing, May 25th, 6:38. Nope, 6:34.
I have 33.
30. Thank you.
Do I hear another bid? Yeah.
Emily, would you please call the roll?
Paul Hughes,
Present.
Gerard Sanchez,
Here.
Heriel Hernandez,
Present.
Deb Moody, Debbie Gregorian, Wesley Cook,
Here.
Taylor Materio.
Present.
Okay, thank you. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance now. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll do the motion.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes of the April 27th Code Enforcement Board meeting, any unfinished cases now in compliance, and any new cases in compliance. Dana, do we have any cases now in compliance?
Yes, on page 2, the last 2 cases, case 22-0189, Christian Mosbach, I don't know if I'm saying it right, for the open storage, that one is in compliance. And then the case right below it, 22-0176, for Yazalin Mendez and Lionel Rivera operating a business without a current business tax. Both of those are in compliance.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item, disclosure of visits. Chair would ask any of the board members that if you have any firsthand knowledge, communication with any of the cases to come up before us tonight, if you would please disclose that at the time that the case is presented. The chair would ask the town attorney to swear in any witnesses that are going to come before us tonight.
Okay. For any of you that are here that are received violation notice, you'll probably be testifying, so you need to be under oath. Everybody?
About a citation?
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Unfinished cases. I believe the case before us right now is a lien imposition, 220049. Dana, is there anything new here on that case?
No, the stump is still there and no one has contacted me whatsoever.
The tree is still,
So it was a tree, but they took the tree down, but they've left the stump.
Oh,
So
the
if they
stump
would just
now.
call, they could find out more.
and there's no one here to testify to that. Okay. Any questions, comments from board members?
This one has a lien this is the same property that has a lien
Yes.
for 700. So this is really an ongoing.
Mhm.
So this is not a final.
Correct.
And is the stump, what we see there between the light, the
Correct.
landscaping lights? Okay.
Yes. I took another picture of it.
And this is from
Where it's a
today?
little closer.
This is a photo from today?
Correct.
Thank you.
Really?
Okay, the total fine right now is approximately $700. Is that
Right, as of today, yeah.
as of today?
Mhm.
And we send out the board order, like certified mail,
We hand deliver them.
so the board order imposing the fine was hand delivered.
I don't know
Well,
if the person was
Left at the
there.
door.
yeah,
It
you
was left
post
at the
it
door.
At the door.
It's not like you're serving someone, right?
Right.
So We presume, we have to presume that they've received it, that
Because they
someone
took
has
the
read
tree
it.
down.
Yeah,
No, they knew to take the tree down,
yeah.
but when the board imposed the $25 a day fine to start, do they receive a copy of that board order?
Yes, they're hand delivered. They're posted at the front door where they're in an envelope sealed and we leave them at the front door.
Yeah, and I specifically said in my order that they have to remove the stump.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The-
'cause,
the
the
lien has-
concern of mine is,
The
are they
lien has
aware?
not been opposed yet.
No,
Okay, so the question before us tonight is, do we
Bless you.
move to impose a lien? And you've not had any more communication with them at all?
I've never had any communication with them. They've never called.
Okay,
It's like, that's just where we've naturally, well, it's where we've arrived to the process because of the sequence of events. And I just hate to impose a lien for something so simple.
well, they can
Is,
choose, they can
right.
choose to pay off the lien.
Yeah. It's just,
Would there be precedent
for,
to send a certified letter advising them that they're?
Why would we treat them any differently than we do
No,
other
that's why I'm
people?
just trying to get a handle on how we've handled anything in the past. If this is the end of the process and.
Yeah.
Or the fine just continues.
it's a fair question because I think that, there's, I mean, is there?
This has been This has been going on how long, Dana?
The very first violation was issued
February 20th.
Looks like February 23rd,
January 26th
January
of
26th.
2022 was the first actual violation.
And do we say tree removal including removal of stump? I'm just want to say how detailed we,
Yeah,
I put, please remove the tree, including the stump.
okay.
Some people are able to dig them out and some stump grind them, so I
Right.
kind of keep it basic because
Yep.
leave it up to them, 'cause as long as they remove it, that's
Right.
all that matters to us.
Exactly.
so no phone call, no,
All right.
I believe the next step is to impose the lien.
Yeah, I think, I
And
think,
they can pay the lien off.
we have no, yeah.
yeah, I think
First of all, they
we've
can go to
covered our
council,
bases. I
too.
think we've asked all the
And they
right
can go to-
questions.
They can go to the town council and ask them to.
Yeah.
How we handle everybody else's.
Yep. So
It's always good to
I'll
just
do a motion.
double
then.
check and make
Or-
sure we've
Go ahead and
asked
make
the
the motion.
questions.
So here, as we're assessing, well, we've already assessed the fine.
Right.
Right now, we're going to do the order and impose a lien. All right, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case, out here, case number 22-0049, I move that this board impose a lien against the respondent's property, which shall be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Do you need the motion repeated? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next case is new cases. Case 22-0172. Juan and Luz Gomez. Dana?
On April 18th of 2022, I issued the property located at 1423 Keller Road a violation for having the roof in disrepair. They have a tarp placed on it, section 3419-9C, and it is section 34-20 as well. It was posted at the front door and sent via regular mail. Shortly after the violation was issued, Mr. Gomez contacted me, let me know that he had some issues litigation with the insurance company. So I recommended the next step is to come here because that's how we've handled all the roofs when people say it's an insurance thing. So, because it could go on for some time. So therefore, on May 13th of 2022, I met with Mr. Gomez and he signed for his hearing notice and he's here today.
Mr. Gomez,
Yeah, go ahead.
is there anything you would like to say to us? You want to come up? If you do want to say something, come on up to the, I can't understand you. I'm sorry.
like I explained to the lieutenant here, everything is in a dispute with the citizens company. So I just waiting for them to say they okay. So as soon as they say yes, everything is gonna be removed and I'm gonna put a new roof right away.
But Mr. Gomez, you realize that a lot of times these, under insurance and everything else, these litigation, this can take a couple of years. We've had already previous residents, I'm sorry, that have experienced the same thing. So I'm just curious, obviously you got a tarp on your roof, you got leakage and in the house, I'm assuming. I mean, it needs to be done or taken care of. So how long are you anticipating? In other words, maintaining your house with a tarp on it, because litigation can go 2 or 3 years.
So like you just mentioned, I do have a leak in my kitchen and my living room and one of the bedrooms. And I just received a week ago from citizens. I'm very bad with technology, so I just had it over here on my phone. Where they say they're working on it. I even hired somebody because my claim was since the beginning of February of 2020.
So
I mean 2022. And they just answered me back like a week ago that everything is going well. And now the person that I hired is the one who's fighting with them. And he told me it's gonna take at least 1 month. Because I told him I'm worried about hurricane season around the corner in my house. I mean,
yeah,
that's all I have. My house.
yeah, I expect it to take longer than that.
Is the damage that your roof has suffered been caused by hurricanes, or is it just an old roof?
It was caused by, I forgot I think it was 2020, tropical storm Era.
Okay, so you've had a roof leak since 2020?
I noticed something on December 2020 when I was doing my Christmas lighting, but I didn't really pay attention because this is my first house and everything, so I'm very new, I'm very naive. So back in February of 2022, that's when I saw the leaking coming into my kitchen, and I look everywhere else, and that's where I saw everything. So that's when I called citizens, and they respond to me, and that's why I hired somebody so he can rush things up.
Is somebody as a public adjuster, or is
Yes,
this an attorney?
not public.
An attorney, or what do you have?
I
curious.
don't know how to explain to you. He's an adjuster.
A claims adjuster, yeah.
Claims adjuster.
Yeah, public, has to be public, yeah.
And
Because he's representing you, not the insurance or,
my nephew's brother-in-law, he works with citizens, so he told me I cannot do nothing for you, but he recommended me this guy. And he told me you're very lucky because we called this guy the judge because he's very on top of the line. So hopefully
Yep.
it'll be done soon.
I'm just saying that we've experienced this with numerous residents, and unfortunately, this is generally a very long process.
And they're likely to come back and tell you that your roof is X number of years old and it's, not got much life left, and for that reason, they're not gonna cover your roof, or they'll only cover you a minimum amount. That's what I've heard from a few people very recently about filing claims on their roof.
Yeah, especially everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
But like I say, I talked to this guy and he told me, don't worry, it's gonna be like
Well.
30 days to 45 days.
I'm also a licensed adjuster, so I understand the process, and that is the default answer from citizens, but you do have an adjuster representing you, you're likely gonna do better than most, but it's still gonna take some time. And so that's our concern. And I guess what we need is you to be prepared to repair that sooner than when the case is resolved, in order to bring,
That's the thing. If I repair anything, I'm not gonna get the money back.
no, you've already got documented of the
Claim.
claim. You have, the claim has been filed, you have documentation of the damage. You, as an owner, have duty to mitigate further damage. That's why you put the blue tarp. And then, so you did your duty. You also can proceed and repair the damage once you file the claim and then be reimbursed by your insurer.
Well, that's
So-
what I hired these people, and they are the one who told
Yeah,
me if we
Because
fix
you
anything.
want the insurer to pay directly, you don't want to have to go out of pocket. What we need to find a solution in between those two, somewhere in between. Give you some time, but also not too much time to come into compliance.
So it's a matter of time. So I got my hands tied. I don't know what to tell you. If I
You have your hands
Money from
tied
my
from the
pocket.
perspective that you are waiting for the insurance to pay your claim directly to either you or to your roofer that you have hired or plan to hire or will hire. That's to the extent your hands are tied. You are able, I understand it is a financial impact, and that's why we are here to work with you and come to an amicable solution that can help you achieve where you are not too financially impacted. Maybe, I don't know how, but I understand that with giving you time, you may be able to find other ways to get your roof into compliance and repaired sooner than the 6 months or more that it can take where you are in the stage with Citizens. Very aggressively, 3 months. That's the fastest you can expect them to pay you right now. You're gonna be 6 months or more. In my opinion,
Is this gonna be a total roof replacement or is it a repair?
it's gonna be a total.
Have you
Roof
gotten
replacement.
estimates for replacement?
That's the thing. They give me one estimate. That's what I hired these guys. And they give them another estimate. And that's when Citizen answered me. I can show you, like I said, I'm very bad with technology. And it looks, from what I understand, and my guy told me, that it looks like everything is rushing up, that they are agreed to pay. I can show you, like I say,
Well, it sounds like Mr. Gomez is waiting for his insurance company to pay, and he doesn't want to pay until they pay. And we don't have any idea how long that's going to take. So, Mr. Gomez, I think you need to think about replacing your roof and then waiting for the reimbursement from your insurance company, because your roof can't just stay in town covered with a tarp for the next, we don't know how long it's going to be.
It's going to damage your home even more.
Yep.
It's not that, this is, pardon me, I mean, nothing personal, but how long, I mean, do we know how old his roof is since the last time?
I've been here for 15 years. I'm pretty sure that roof is been here longer than me. He can look at his file, but I guarantee you.
What year was your house built?
I think that house used to
63.
belong to the Rukins.
yes,
So yeah,
Right,
they've lived,
Lincoln's?
yeah, Eric, yeah.
Are you able to share the estimate, the first estimate that you received, the amount for the roof repair or replacement?
I haven't worked in 2 years. I just started working again a month ago. I took today off so I can be here, because my wife doesn't speak English. So I really don't have money to fix.
I was trying to get an understanding and for us to get an understanding of what that amount is.
It's around 55,000.
That sounds right. So one solution that you could, do
Right now.
is find a way to finance it. And then you just reimburse and pay off that short-term loan, or even through a longer-term loan like Y-Green or other, PACE, taking advantage of PACE financing through your property taxes. And then, once you're reimbursed by the insurer, then you pay off that loan. That's one way to do it without it having to go through the traditional methods of refinancing your home or getting equity out of the house or whatever. That's one way. And then there's other financing. There's roofers that I'm aware of that offer financing, and they can help you with that. And that's one way to speed up the process to help. We have our obligations here, and we kind of just need you to work with us and share, like, what are you able to do?
I think what'll help Mr. Gomez is if we go ahead and initiate a fine
Mhm.
for his house being in disrepair, and then he can let his insurance company and his adjuster know that
The clock is ticking.
the clock is ticking and it's going to cost them more money because they're not.
You can then hold them liable for, down the process or
Right.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to cross the line of giving legal advice. That's not our job here.
Well, we've done that before.
His house was built in 1963, according to Papa. So
Yeah.
sometimes it could be a couple years.
That's not
give
the,
or take. It's
I'm sure it's not.
not
original.
accurate.
that's not the original roof, I'm sure.
Oh, no, it's
But-
definitely not the original,
Okay.
but it's an older roof
But it's old. Yeah.
that may need some replacement.
So the chair would suggest we find this property not in compliance, initiate a fine, and ask Mr. Gomez to come back to the next meeting and bring all of his documentation with him from his adjuster and his insurance company, showing us where you are. And by that time, you can also tell them what's gone on here tonight. And maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Yeah, like I say, he told me, if you fix something, you're not gonna get the money back. That's why it's in a dispute right now, so.
I don't think there could be.
No, that's not
No.
accurate.
Yeah. Well, you're a public adjuster. I don't,
Well, no, not a
You
public
just-
adjuster. I'm licensed claims adjuster. There's a
Yeah.
difference, but
I just think you need to understand, Mr. Gomez, is it's a very
much,
long legal, on average, it's a long legal process. In the meantime, your house is going to be damaged even more, and it's going to require attention. And just like Errol had mentioned, you might want to look into a home equity line of credit if you have equity in the home and get that. And like you said, get your problem resolved. When you settle the dispute, you pay off the loan and do that. But it can't be, and I'm just letting you know, people, 6 months, a year, 2 years, we've had a variety of folks. So I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, on average, we've seen a lot of these type of cases. So
And-
I know you're hoping for a month. Here's a gentleman who's telling you 3 months at best, but really he's telling you 6 months
or
to a
more.
year. And that's at best. So in the meantime, you're going to be having, obviously we're in hurricane season, we're upon this, it's rainy season, it's not going to be good for your home, and you're probably going to even have to pay more money to maintain. So unfortunately, I think we're going to have to go with imposing the fine, and then that's something you can go, as Paul had mentioned, go to your public adjuster, let him know, and they maybe play hardball, but it is a slow process. I'm just telling you from our experience that we've seen so far.
So
How much is the
Someone like to
fine?
make a
and-
motion?
Well, let me ask you this question. If this is the first time we're hearing it, is this the meeting at which we would impose the fine, beginning at our next meeting? Or are we finding them in violation at this meeting?
finding him in violation and then.
Well, you can find him in violation and not impose a fine, I suppose. But if you're going to find him in violation, then why not impose the fine?
Right, okay.
As someone who's gone through the HELOC process quite a few times, I can tell you it's a 30-day, we're either waiting 30 days for him to hear from citizens or 30 days to secure financing, if that's the option that we're,
Mhm.
saying he should move forward with or suggesting he should move forward with. Either way, it's a wait period. He has a wait to solve the problem in either direction.
Another solution is finding a roofer that will do the assignment of benefits, and they will just take care of the job, and then they will wait for the paycheck from the reimbursement from the insurer. That's another
But that's once the claim is settled.
They,
Sounds like right now.
no, the roofers take on that risk. Yeah, there are roofers out there that have that model.
They're very, very difficult to find, but yes,
Right.
especially right now.
And just for Mr. Gomez, Yuli back, she's helping us out with the code board. She works in the town hall. She said if you need some assistance with translation, she'd be more than happy to help you. So if you just call the
That's sweet.
town hall and ask for Yuli.
Very thoughtful.
Oh, I understand everything. It was only if my wife.
She was just throwing it out there if there was something that we could do to help. She'd be happy.
Okay. Thank you.
I think the message is that we're all trying to help in some way, and we're it's an unfortunate situation, but we have to move on.
Was
So what I think what we're gonna we're gonna make a motion that finds you in violation, and whoever does, well, it may or may it's likely to include a fine of an amount per day. That fine would be imposed, I believe, at the start of next month, or at the next meeting, right? It's not, doesn't actually start the clock today, or does it?
It can start today
Oh, it does start today.
I think that's what I was getting at before.
Okay.
rather than retroactive.
But then what we would probably require from you is the following one, you'd be giving us an update of where you're at. It's already started the clock. Let us know what actions you have taken. We're, just as a board, as you heard from everybody, suggesting that you need to probably find some alternative method of getting your roof repaired sooner.
I did recommend to him to bring you guys documentation.
like I say, I'm very bad with technology and everything is here.
That's okay. So,
Another-
yeah, I agree.
I don't even own a computer or anything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a stab at the motion. This will be an order finding violation that based on the testimony and evidence for case 220172. I move that this board find the respondent in violation of section 3420, 34199C, roof and disrepair tarp on roof of the town code of ordinances. I move that this respondent be ordered to correct the violations on or before
June 26th.
June 22nd, 2022. And I further order that a fine in the amount of $100 per day will be imposed beginning today. That's
all
not
right.
exactly the language in the script, but
Is it today or at the beginning of the next meeting?
I mean, typically, there's a period given to bring the property into compliance.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would be the next meeting, I'm sorry. That would be
then.
June 22nd.
Correct.
So is it a fine will be imposed?
Will be imposed
In compliance by.
if not brought into compliance by June 22nd.
Will be.
Will be. Is there a second to the motion?
I would like to, would you amend that to say may be imposed? And I'll support the, I'll vote in favor.
Okay. You can change it. to may be imposed.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
I have a question. Mr. Gomez's situation, $100 a day. I understand the severity of it, but I think that's in another month, that's 2 months from now, it's going to be another $3,000. So now you're looking at $58,000. I would
Well-
suggest maybe $50 a day, just because of he hasn't been to work for 2 years and he just got back to work. And, that's just my thought.
Mr.
would-
Cook, would you like to amend the motion to
Sure, I'd amend the
reduce
motion to
the
$50
fine
a
to
day.
$50?
Okay.
Is there a second
I'll second it.
to the amendment? You ready to vote on the amendment? To reduce to $50 a day? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Anyone opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, the motion to amend is approved. Now, the main motion is what was previously stated and the fine of $50 a day may be imposed if not brought into compliance by June 22nd. Is there any further discussion?
Now you realize that's basically a tool he can use to go back to his insurance company as an adjuster and put the onus on them to get him able to be in compliance.
Right.
So that was my intent when suggesting that fine.
Are we ready to vote on the motion?
It'll still add up. It'll add up because it's going to take some
Are
time.
we ready to vote?
Yes, I am.
It's okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Emily, do you have that?
Yeah, so the original motion was amended, but the original motion was done by Deb Moody and then seconded by Ariel.
Yes.
And it's 6-0.
It sounded like it was 6-0.
Did you oppose the last motion too?
No, there was no.
She opposed.
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yes,
You
you
opposed
opposed
the
the amendment, but
Okay.
you're opposing the
Yes,
the original.
that's what I was going to ask, if you can
Okay.
record me as opposed,
Yeah.
please.
Oh, okay. Good. Good clarification.
I'm just curious, are we going to have something, documentation that
Oh, we
Mr.
didn't-
Gomez can give to the public adjuster and his insurance company so they can maybe be motivated to move faster?
Is
Well-
there a notice?
Well, there's going
Or
to be
is it
an
just
order
minutes?
that he's going to receive. So you can just give the order to
Right.
the company.
The minutes of the meeting would work also, wouldn't it? Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, because he says, you don't have anything print, I guess what through,
Now, the order is the
Email?
best.
what was that?
The order is the best because the minutes are not going to be approved until the next meeting.
Right.
When you mail them to him, could you mail 2 copies? Since he isn't able to print them or copy them.
Sure.
You just put a copy in the envelope, then he can turn that over to his adjuster and.
So,
So when I'm gonna be
Mr.
receiving this?
Gomez, if you need us to print anything, I put my email address and I wrote Yuli's name here for you. We can print it for you.
So when I'm gonna receive this letter so I can show them?
Right.
When? It's like.
Emily, when should he
fine.
get the final order? If I sign it tomorrow, I won't be here. So Jerry, you'll probably need to sign the final
Okay.
order.
You're not going to be here on Friday?
No.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
You need me to come in on Friday?
Yep.
Yep, no problem. And so if I do it on Friday, what, it's going to be mailed, Monday's a holiday, so you'll probably have it Tuesday, or you?
Well, it's going to be delivered by the police department. So
Okay.
I'm not sure when they're going to do that.
Okay,
So it'll be delivered over the weekend possibly.
Yeah, probably.
So you'll have it over the weekend of the first of the week. Okay?
And then on June is when you're gonna start.
And then on June 22nd, you'll come back and you'll tell us where you are with your adjuster, the insurance company, and provide us with any documentation that you received.
At that point, we have the opportunity to decide whether to extend or to enforce the fine at that point.
So the fine is not due today. It's gonna be
No.
after June 22nd,
It's not
whatever the
even-
board decides.
And it won't be due June 22nd either. It'll be,
It may be imposed, June release.
it may be imposed June 22nd, and then you'll be given some time to pay.
So you have to come back on June 22nd, same spot, 6:30, and discuss it with them to let them know where you are.
Okay,
and probably, and
And
probably
if
put
they
some sort of,
send you a letter in your email, just send it to me and I'll print it for you.
probably with an action plan. In other words, because they might, your public adjuster and them might be telling you, there's tactics, things get delayed, but unfortunately, you might need to think of some alternatives, especially with hurricane season being in, so.
Okay, are we ready to go on to the next case?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr.
Thank
Gomez.
you.
do I need to stay or I can?
No.
No, you can.
No,
No,
you
you're good.
you can go. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for
you for
coming
coming.
in.
You
Have a good evening.
night.
The next case before us is case 22-0173. Diane Smith, roof and disrepair, tarp on roof. Dana?
Yes. On April 27th of 2022, I issued the property located at 8310 Westlake Drive a violation for the roof and disrepair, as well as having mildew on the roof. So they're two separate. Section 3420 and 3419 9C. I was contacted probably the day of the violation, I believe, or day after by Mrs. Smith. And she had explained that she has litigation with her insurance company and she will bring her documents, which I think she did. So I also suggested that she come before the board just as we, for all the others. So on May 13th of 2022, at 10 o'clock a.m., I posted both hearing notices for today's meeting on the door.
I actually thought that was pretty funny. I got a citation that my roof was in disrepair, and then I got another one that I had mold on the roof.
Yeah, so because it's two separate. So like,
I get it.
if I tell you, hey, fix your roof, but don't, you'd have to clean it. So I have to.
Before
put 'em as
fixing
two.
it? I
Well,
didn't.
no,
I
that's
just
why,
thought that
that's
was
why I
pretty-
told you, you got to leave the tarp on it, get whatever it is squared away, and then you clean it. But I think you told me you were getting a new.
I
you're
don't
trying to
have
get a
near
new
the
roof.
problem this poor gentleman had. But I have a leak where the roof and the porch are connected. And my roof is 25 years old. We moved in 97. So it's definitely time. And I'm with the public adjuster because the damage and the leaking started last October during the high winds. I've received 5 estimates so far. And I have a letter from saying who my attorney is, if you need to see it, would you?
You don't have a copy for us by any chance, do you?
And I'm also older, so I can't hear very well. So say it again.
You don't have a copy for us, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, we can have that?
Yes.
Okay, yes, we'll definitely take that. Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to,
To submit this for evidence?
Yeah.
You have one for
So
yourself?
move.
I do.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
And how far along are you? I guess we've had the benefit of processing Mr. Gomez's case,
Yes, yeah.
right? So you understand where we're thinking, how, how we're looking at this. And I guess, where are you along in the
I've been
case?
with
And
this public adjuster and I was trying to think of that. It's probably the middle of February
okay,
that I began litigation probably the middle of March. About the middle of March.
and
But I'm being dropped by my insurance, of course, and so I am very motivated to try and get this thing
well,
repaired on my own.
they have to cover the claim because it was during the time of your coverage.
And I didn't realize
So,
that, but I'm still motivated to get it.
But yes, you nonetheless, just didn't want you to worry unnecessarily about something that wasn't gonna affect you.
Thank you.
Dana, is the mildew, is it, I assume
So-
it's somewhere other than the tarp?
Yes, so this is where I always recommend for you guys to look at them yourselves and not just my photos, because in the photo it looks clean.
Right.
But when you're standing in front of it, you can see the mildew. It's hard, it depends on where the sun is shining.
I can appreciate it. I love the
She
trees.
usually does clean her roof.
I love your trees and that's beautiful.
but
There was
obviously you
only
can't, right?
one area inside and it's right by the sliding glass window,
There's another picture.
that
Emily. I
was
don't know if the other
damaged,
ones show a
but
little
on the
better.
porch.
I can see.
Ms. Smith, and Ms. Smith, I know you went through, so
There's
you had the
three
pleasure of
pictures.
hearing the other gentleman we had before.
You had the benefit, for sure.
So the thing is, you've been dealing with this
Oh,
since
maybe I didn't go
October.
through.
Here we are
Yeah.
in May. And obviously, the damage are, I mean, I know you're the adjuster and everybody's working it out, but do you have any plans of just taking care of this? I mean, get financing or get it done while you're,
Absolutely. That's what I've been talking to this man. I need you to know, you can't get a tile roof for 4 to 6 months is what I'm being told by every single roofer.
Mhm.
And the quickest we can get a shingle roof on, if they come in here today to get the, all the legalities would be 2.5 months.
Mhm.
now, one thing
And
is,
on a shingle roof, they can't guarantee a color you might get.
and I just had my roof replaced, so kind of learning all this.
You
Yours
know.
took some time.
All
too.
to, which took time. I got it, believe me, and I was all over letting the town know what's going on, but mine was in litigation. But I know that when they do the roof, they can put, I guess, fix your roof, do all that, and then they put that 30 weight paper plus
Yeah.
the peel and stick, and that can be up there for 6 months. So by that time, you'll have your tile and under the,
We pray.
well,
Because
you'll
you got
have the
black
tile,
roof
but
on there.
what needs to be is the roof needs to be repaired because your house is getting more damaged. The more time it's
Oh, no, I absolutely.
So all I'm
Before
saying,
hurricane
do
season, have
do
to
you
get it.
have a roofer already in mind that you're going to be?
I have bids from 3, I called 5. In the
Okay.
area.
Now, of those okay, you're going to be choosing one now to actually do something now
I
with,
thought probably next week. No, seriously, I'm trying to go through these estimates. But I am being told, forget the tile.
well, right, you can wait, but what they put under the tile, if you see all these roofs that they
Yeah,
put the
a
30
tile
weight
roof.
and the peel and stick on top, that can be on your roof. Well, this is what my roof, for like 6
And
months.
We can't say anything that would put you in compliance because
But-
your roof is
That's
not in
fine,
disrepair.
but they're
and there's no
saying it
building.
might take 4 to 6 months or
Right.
more to get.
But your roof is still
Anyway, so-
protected.
Well, you're moving forward with getting your roof repaired. This is what the town cares
Yes,
the most
sir, I am.
about. That's,
He's trying to tell you so that if you want a tile, you can get tile
To
and not
pay, yeah.
settle for shingles if that's not what you
I
want.
got it.
Correct.
Thank you.
because whatever they do under the tile, under the metal roof, under the
That's what
shingles,
really-
it's the same thing.
That's-
All that is just more aesthetic to make your roof, but really what matters most is that 30 weight paper and the peel and stick, and that can be on your roof with nothing on it for like 6 months.
So I am
Modified.
definitely moving forward.
Okay,
Because I'm terrified of going through a hurricane without a roof,
Mhm.
being raised and born down here.
the leaks.
So do you have a suggestion in terms of time frame that you would
Well,
need to
as
to
I
a
said,
certain milestone?
The least they're telling me for a shingle roof is if they get in here and get all the permits and everything, the least would be 2.5 months. If they can get the shingle. This
Okay.
is.
And if you get a
over
signed
that-
contract, like,
Hmm?
if you get a signed contract, probably within the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually don't have a contract right now with any roofer.
No,
That's
I
a
was getting
hypothetical.
bids this week.
Okay.
That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
So giving you a week to sign a contract and then a few months, I guess.
Well, that's when they're you're saying that's when they're gonna start the work?
Yeah,
Or are you saying the work, the tile and all that will be on order? The question is the roofer can actually put the 30 weight paper on and the peel and stick.
Why don't we give Ms. Smith
Well, I found it
30 days
interesting
to
that
come in
you told this,
to the next meeting and tell us where she is like we did in the last case?
Yeah,
is that what you were saying to him? Or you were saying it had to be in compliance, which means repaired by then in a month? Because it can't happen.
But he wasn't really giving them an action plan. You are.
Yeah. So obviously, I agree with Paul. Let's go ahead and,
I mean, because
you have a
roof-
plan of action in
the roof is
place,
not in compliance. That's-
Right.
It's in violation.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And in the last case, we could do a similar, this time, we can impose a fine and say that it may be imposed effective the next meeting. When you come in, you'll tell us where you are, if you signed a contract, any other documentation you have,
Yeah, it'll be signed by then.
And then we can give you
And
the
then we-
timeline that
then
you
we can
need.
go from there.
Thank you,
Okay?
thank you.
Would someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Now, this is case 220173. We still have to do our second case, mildew on roof.
Yeah, like a tick on a. All right.
They
Order-
both obviously would be in compliance
Yeah.
at the same time.
Hmm?
Because she's replacing her roof.
My moldy roof probably won't be moldy after I replace it.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's fair to conclude that.
That was,
So
just move
that
it.
was.
someone going to make a motion?
All right, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 220173, I move that the board find a respondent in violation of sections 34-20, 34-19, subsection 9, subsection C, roof and disrepair. And that the respondent be ordered to correct the violation on or before the June 22nd meeting, or the violation may be imposed in the amount of $50 a day.
Is there a second?
I second.
Further discussion? Are you ready to vote?
out of order, but it made sense.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Case 220174, Ms. Smith, mildew on roof.
I actually don't want
I think we've discussed this enough.
I mean, it's obviously, you gotta get the roof done, so there's no sense. Order to continue.
Yeah, but I just see that that's just, like well, anyways, you know what?
How about order to continue?
If that's what you want, go ahead and make them up.
I'm gonna go with, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-0174, I move that this board continue this matter until the code enforcement board hearing of
June 22nd.
June 22nd of 2022.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Ms. Smith,
Yes, thank you.
you with us?
I'm waiting.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for coming.
Is there any more?
Yes.
I'm enjoying this.
Better live than
Well,
on.
in full disclosure,
I'm glad.
Mr. Cook
glad
did
I
the
thought
same
you were
thing
nicer.
for, yeah, Mr. Cook here on the board sat there in the audience for many years before he decided to join. So be careful. Careful.
I hope it's not too entertaining. Okay, next case is 2201.
We are trending in Lake Clark Shores.
0175. Christian Mosbeck as trustee of the Christian Mosbeck Living Trust. Dana?
Mr. Chairman, before you go too far,
Yeah.
I'd like to recuse myself.
Okay,
I am her neighbor,
okay,
so I would just soon recuse myself.
okay. If that's what you want to do, you don't have to
I
unless
do.
you feel like you might not be able to vote.
Oh, I'll
Without-
be able to vote, but I'd rather recuse
Okay.
myself.
Okay. Dana?
On April 29th of 2022, I issued the property located at 7071 Pine Tree Lane, a violation for having a open access to the pool, no proper barrier for pool open to public, safety issues, what I wrote, section 125-475, subsection I. The violation was posted and mailed via regular mail. Very shortly after the violation was issued, she did contact me and let me know that she would work on it, get it taken care of. She put up her orange fence immediately. It stays up except for when the lawn men mow the lawn and don't put it back. So she puts it back. I did make some recommendations to her about estimates and stuff, and I believe she's already contacted me back and told me she spoke with Fritz Massey, and she's here to explain more.
What was the initial date you posted?
Oh,
Right.
oh, that's my error. I'm sorry. I told her because it was a safety issue, we'll go to the code board May 13th of 2022 at 10 o'clock a.m. I posted it on the front door.
May 13th.
Yes.
Ma'am, would you
Sorry.
like to come up and share anything with us?
Sure. The septic man took down the fence to put in a new drain field, which was rather expensive and will be fairly useless in a year or two, unfortunately. So I have actually hired Fritz Massey Fence to put in the new fence. I've paid him a deposit and I have filed for the permit already.
Okay.
I'll do a motion.
Yeah, when does he think he might be able to have it up? Give you any idea?
He said it would be about 3 weeks, but he said he's got to put in the side panels
Mhm.
and then order the gates separately. So I think the fixed panels go in 3 weeks and then he orders the gates after he sees where the posts can go.
So then you'll have that temporary, same thing, orange
Yeah,
thing.
she has the orange barrier up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So,
I took a picture of it
yeah, can we
if
see?
you want to see.
And you already have a signed contract or whatever with?
Oh yeah, and I've paid a deposit as well. And I do have a signed contract
Do we have photos?
with Fritz Massey Fencing here.
Okay.
You
She
get-
just has one side of the house. The other side has the fence, so I just
Okay.
photo what you need.
Emily, you have documentation that the permit's been applied for?
Actually, I don't. Yuli checked, I think this morning to see if a permit was applied and it wasn't.
I
So,
was here this morning applying for the.
oh, you were? Okay, okay. So I'm not aware. I'm
Okay.
not aware of it.
So you could continue this to the next meeting
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go
based
ahead.
on where we are
Yeah,
with this.
I'll go ahead and do a motion. Then on this, based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 22-0175, I move that this board continue this matter until the Code Enforcement Board hearing of June 22nd of 2022.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, would we not be better to find it in violation than to continue it?
Well, it definitely is in
There's-
violation. You can find her in violation and
As opposed to
continue it.
continue
But is it? I mean, she's,
We could find her in violation
Yeah,
and continue the
It is
case
technically
until.
in violation. The orange fencing is just something that I've always recommended to people.
yeah, it's a
to
temporary
Show that they're,
barrier for construction.
So what, that's not orange, or I guess it's,
it's orange. It's
Yeah.
the construction
I see.
fencing.
It's orange from here.
yeah.
But it is in violation, yes, to answer Ariel's question.
Okay.
That's just something to show that she is
Yeah.
trying to.
Trying to prevent
who
somebody
made
from
the
walking
motion?
back there. Gotcha.
I did.
Would you like to restate in motion?
Yeah, I can.
Withdraw it and restate it, or if you want to withdraw it,
I can withdraw it.
is there any objection? If Mr. Sanchez withdraws that motion,
I like that motion, but
well, then you're objecting. So you're saying that it's not in violation.
I like his motion too.
well, I figured we can continue and then decide if
But is it or isn't it a violation?
that is true. It is in violation now. Yeah.
Can we
If it's
find,
a life safety issue,
Right.
I would not have a problem with continuing it, but because it is a life safety issue, I think in order to protect the town, protect the board, I think we have to find it in violation,
Right.
don't we? Or shouldn't we?
Well, you can, I mean, as long as that temporary fence stays up, it's pretty well taken care of, whether you find a violation or not. But you can find a violation and in the other cases, just give till June 22 to comply, and she can come back and maybe the fence is in and maybe it isn't, and you can deal with it then.
In that case, I'm fine with.
The original. Okay, and you live in the property all the time, because you're saying
It's my-
landscapers and they don't put it back, which is, that's pretty serious.
It's my primary residence. Yes.
Okay, so
And,
basically,
and I do go out there after the yard man and put it back
okay.
when
so
he's
you're-
finished.
Your
All
home
right.
when the yard man is there.
Yeah, my yard man lives 3 doors down from me.
Bobby Haynes.
So we're sticking with the original
Motion.
motion to continue until June 22nd.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Correct.
Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Any further discussion?
It's fine.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Is anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And I look forward to learning about more roofing at the next meeting.
We'll see you at the next meeting. All righty. I believe that's all the cases. We're now at board comments, suggestions, updates. Anyone?
I have one.
Okay.
And actually a couple of things. One, I want to encourage everybody on this board. I had the privilege of Police Chief Wes Smith taking me out around the town because I wanted to be better at being on this board enforcement. And on top of that, get to know our towns, because some of us, depending where we live, we just kind of stay where we live. Well, we have people that live on the north side. There's just different parts of this town that, so I've taken upon myself to walk, but Chief actually took me all around what they patrol and what they see. And walking and then being in the car are two different views, but I encourage everyone on this board to do both, honestly. and help out. But Chief is great, and he's, and would love to have it if you guys want to ride along with him or one of the officers. They'll be more than happy. On top of that, two, it's been great meeting a lot of the neighbors. So another reason it's nice. And then you notice stuff, and one thing I brought up with Dana, and that we have the town attorney, I'm just curious, we have, I know Dana told me 15 years, no complaints. I guess I'm thinking big picture, but there's always one person that will ruin it for anybody. I had one of those basketball portable ones that are out, and don't get me wrong, they're all black, and they're usually, some people are great and they keep it on their property. Some people, they just keep it permanently on the road. My concern is if we have a code enforcement board and then someone has known to have it for years and never moved it, and should there ever be an accident, or for God forbid it's on the road, would the town be liable for allowing that? If we were, I'm just thinking, could someone actually put the town in jeopardy or liable for anything, any debris that's on the road or personal item?
It's not on the road. It would be in the spot where their mailbox kind of is. So
That's one.
Right of way or easement.
It's usually on the actual street. It's sticking out. Yeah. Or it's not necessarily a mailbox. It's on the street. It's not on their property, even though it's 10 foot high.
The base
Is on the road.
on the road.
And it's all black. So at nighttime, and now they've kept it there, but nothing personal.
Ought to be a violation if it's.
I'm just concerned,
Ordinance.
that's.
Our basketball hoops
There
not
isn't
in an ordinance?
that would cover that, not specifically
Athletic.
basketball, but if.
There might be a state code about blocking or,
Construction on the roadway.
yeah, I would think so. But to answer your question, obviously somebody can always sue the town. Generally, what the decision whether to enforce a code or an ordinance or not is not something you can be sued for or found to be liable for. But if it is sitting out on the road, I would recommend that some action be taken because it's a problem.
If a property owner takes bulk debris, washing machines, refrigerators, that they want picked up and they put it in the street, is that permissible?
We have an ordinance for that.
So
Right.
what's the difference between that and
Well, because the basketball hoop's not out for trash.
Well, maybe
Basketball hoops.
No, it's not.
We actually had a family that constantly was putting their stuff out and people kept taking it and finally they put it on their property. Basketball hoops.
But
and
like Deb
volleyball
said, maybe
nets,
it could be interpreted as out there for pickup.
I
Anyhow,
would think that the same rule regarding putting something in the street as opposed to on your swale
Well,
or
what's the difference from the basketball hoop and a car parking in the street?
are cars permitted to be parked there? Is it a parking space?
They're allowed to park in the street. We don't have anything against it.
Cars
I'm
have
confused. I don't know what to. and
Cars
I
have
don't the
reflectors.
Authority to tell a resident, hey, move your basketball hoop out of the street.
how about we ask the town's attorney if they can advise us at the next meeting?
Mhm.
And, or draft a letter. Sometimes you guys draft letters and send it to them on behalf of the town.
The second part to that is also rubbish or trash. I mean, we have folks, they have beautiful yards, but they put everything on the street. Nothing like that, because they don't want that big thing wrecking their, got it. And then, because it's not a main thoroughfare.
Trust me, I communicate with Dana about that,
Yeah,
He
but,
gets the same answer. Just
about
call it
once a
in.
week.
but I think some roads are not as a main thoroughfare, so they can get away with that versus, but what happens is other residents see that and they're like, well, if they can do it, I can
So-
do it. So it just gets to be,
No, what it is that residents, the fining thing is new and they're not used to that yet. So once people actually start getting fined, like when I go and mail them, sometimes I'll put a sticky note on it that says, hey, your next one's a fine. So like getting it out there, like, hey, you're gonna get a fine. But people, you have to know, they're used to, oh, code enforcement's just gonna put a door hanger on my door. Garbage is gonna pick it up, goes away. And who cares if I do it 10 times in a month? But now that's changed. So it hasn't hit the streets yet because we haven't got to get the person the second time.
So
Part of that problem is that when the truck comes to pick up he has to park in the other lane. So traffic cannot go by
Yes.
because everything is in one lane and he's in the other lane and traffic has to sit there and wait.
And if there's a
Well,
pedestrian.
isn't that the case whether it sits on the,
No, because if it's in your yard,
He gets to do it in
he's
that
in
lane
the
and
close,
walk around.
he's in the close lane.
well,
Traffic can go
all
in the-
the driver has to do is pull further forward, and then
But
he
they
can pull
don't.
it from the back.
They just go to the other side of the street. They do it all the time, but
That's what, because I live in a cul-de-sac, that's the only way they can do it. And they sit on one side and they,
I could just tell you,
What-
I could tell
yeah.
you firsthand that.
but, yeah, I agree. And
Traffic
anyway,
is
we're
fine.
not,
they do what you said.
Yeah.
I watch them.
but yes, that's probably what they do by default. I think the interesting thing is that actually having lived in West Palm all my life, there's a code against placing garbage on the front lawn because they don't want the cranes to create craters in people's front, in the yards, because that's what eventually happens after so many pickups. The cranes eventually rip up grass and rip up dirt and create craters. And so they actually enforce putting the garbage on the curb. We don't have curbs in this town. You're right. I take advantage of the fact that I live in a cul-de-sac and our neighbors, we just coincidentally, we share, we share a corner of the cul-de-sac where we all just kind of just put it together and it stays out of the way. So much so that the garbage truck will pass our block for a week or two sometimes, thinking that there's nothing there to pick up. So,
If you're putting it in the street, that's a violation.
understood. Yeah, I
I-
understand that now. I've not always understood that.
And I can tell you,
And if-
walking on the main thoroughfare as a pedestrian with the traffic waiting and everything else, it's not a good feeling hearing a car coming this way. You got one coming in front and then I have to you either got to go on the street
Yep.
or you got to go walk on the property of the people.
But look, we have to adapt to the environment we're in. People in New York City live the way they do because it's New York City and they have to. And then we live the way we do because we can, because it's South Florida and we, whatever. We had planning in the 50s, not in the 1850s.
I'm just worried
So,
about litigation. That's all.
Yeah, so I think your point is fair, and I think it's a fair point to bring up, and I think it's great that we're having a conversation because it helps us align on concepts, and I think that's important for us to align on concepts because that dictates like priorities and how things are enforced. So I just think that with everything in life, there is a yin and a yang, there is a balance to everything, and so the consequence of us enforcing people putting the garbage on their lawn are going to be craters in the front yard.
Well, I'm
Or,
gonna tell you, the council wants it enforced, so it gets enforced.
so I think then it's,
We're here, and we're here,
And that's that.
Ariel, to determine whether something is in
Right.
violation or not.
I think let me take it home. I think we need to talk about it, make it something, in my view, I think we should revisit.
But it's
the-
not, because the council doesn't want it that way. The council
Right,
changed the
so-
ordinance so that it's a fine.
It's,
And
the
what they want
ordinance,
is what
the
I do.
ordinance is relatively new. We haven't had any issues communicating with people. And you got to remember, you may get upset with the homeowner and it's really the yard people. So,
That's another thing.
I talked to Gero about it. Another thing we can do is we have put it in on the website. Emily does that, or in the newsletter coming out. We're getting ready to come into the hurricane season, but it's relatively new. You don't see too much because it's in-house. In other words, the officers
The
or code
ordinance is
enforcement.
not new. No, that ordinance has been in effect longer than I've been employed here.
Okay.
The fining process is
Yeah,
new, so
okay,
it's not
that's
new.
fine. So that part is new because if we waited to go before the code board, it'd be corrected because it gets picked up. So we're starting to find people, and quite a few people have been fined or given notices that you all may not know about. So, and that could be a statistical thing you could check with Dana on. But it's relatively new, and I, as the chief, have not had anybody complain to me about it. They understand, because when it's in the road, people got to walk in the road.
I get that.
What is the fine?
I think it's 25, isn't it?
125.
125.
Yeah, it's high. I haven't had to find anybody yet because you write on there, your next one's fine, so they haven't done it again. Which actually.
So it's after a warning, then
Yeah,
to
you get
find.
one warning. But obviously, like if you sell your house and it's a new person, you don't
Yeah.
punish that person. But I actually was gonna ask Emily and I kept forgetting if we could put it on the website just to inform people that you will be fined after a second one. I just don't want you to.
I
do
think
it.
it's already on the website.
The finding one.
And that's
but, like, can
fantastic.
we put it on Facebook, like. just as a
I think
reminder,
that's
hey,
great because it's more efficient. I mean, we're focused on cases that,
And I'll tell you with the vegetation, the only people that complain about it are the people that actually do it themselves. And I tell them, please don't call me and complain when you put yours in the street too. I don't hear from them again.
But I think also too, there's residents that they don't live in the main thoroughfare.
yeah,
Like Pine Tree and Westlake, there's no choice. You can't have anything in the streets. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be because
yeah,
but it's all the
They've been
outlying
residential for
streets.
years.
They go to town
Yeah.
and it's not fair, like, hey, I live on Westlake or I live on Pine Tree, but look at everybody else. And that, I think it gives a bad taste and it needs to be, I think, the same for
I
everybody.
think people are
period.
just doing it because they don't want their grass to die. I don't
Yeah.
think they're doing it because someone else is doing
Well, there's, some of them is very evident that they got pristine yards, but.
it. A lot of them have the same lawn man who does it.
Right, but it's still the homeowner's responsibility to tell their landscapers you can't do it. I mean,
Listen,
that's-
there is a woman owns a lawn service. All right, getting into town, she's picking up business and she's kicking ass. So careful, you're gonna.
So we'll likely
But-
never hear any of the vegetation citations here at the board because they'll be in compliance. Unless we hear about them for not paying their fine. But the basketball thing is a different story.
Mhm.
I think those types of things.
I'm just scared that, if you've been there and it's been there for even years, months, whatever, I think it puts the town, we might be liable as a town code enforcement board because it's like, well, wait a minute, you have these things in place. Why was that never addressed? And that's where I'm coming from.
Well, somebody's going to be liable if somebody runs into it with their car, either the homeowner or the town, one or the other. And you're going to advise us.
Yeah, I can look at it, but as I said, typically, the government does not have liability for choosing to enforce or not enforce a code. But, I mean, that doesn't mean they couldn't sue the town.
Right.
Right.
They always do, and the town has insurance. I mean, not to encourage it, but, but I would recommend if it's sitting out in the street, I'd recommend notifying them to get it out. Shouldn't be there. As far as a basketball hoop.
I would think we should too, but I don't
I don't know if that's my opinion.
I don't know whose responsibility
I
that
work
would
with
be.
ordinances and statutes.
Well,
That's where the-
I mean, we can write a letter, but somebody has to tell us it's there and what's going on. It's first we heard about it.
Jerry, you want to
What do you need me to do or whatever?
tell Emily what the property is, what property it is?
They already know.
Well, I
And
don't.
you need to
But-
communicate that with.
But Emily doesn't know.
I can get it to Emily.
Why, you can tell her.
But the addresses or whatever?
You can tell her whose property it is. She's
Yeah.
asking you a question.
Yeah, I got them, but I got a lot of them. Yeah, you
Okay.
tell me, I guess Friday?
Sure.
Or tomorrow, whenever you want.
Any other business? I would just like to remind everybody that you can go to the town of Lake Clark Shores .com/code enforcement and you can look and see where Dana is and posting her citations.
Mhm.
Quite a, I don't know if you've been there.
The map,
Everybody been there?
the map.
Great. Oh, would someone,
I would like to say, walking around, there's a lot that, thank you guys for doing your job and going around and everything else. And it honestly, it's not something that should be taken for granted. I really encourage all of you to maybe do the same and also walk in other neighborhoods that you normally travel to in our town.
would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I will.
There's
I'll
motion to
second
do-
that.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. Thanks for sticking with us, Ms. Smith.